p.m. on Fox News. President Obama set to give a speech later this morning, meanwhile, on the controversial nuclear deal with Iran. The president facing considerable backlash from Congress and U.S. allies and flat out dismissing his critics last week.
The good news, I guess, is that I have not yet heard a factual argument on the other side that holds up to scrutiny. There's a reason why 99% of the world thinks this is a good deal. It's because it's a good deal.
My next guest helped dismantle Saddam Hussein's chemical weapons in Iraq. He says we cannot trust the Iranians to honor the terms of the deal. Tim Trevan, former chemical weapons inspector for the UN under George W. Bush and Clinton, joins me right now in Washington in a Fox Business exclusive. Good to see you, sir. Thanks very much for joining us. First, what goes into these inspections? Do you think we are going to have the kind of access that is required to actually keep the Iranians honest?
Well, the inspection regime that seems to be being negotiated seems to be a fairly strong regime. However, the experience with Iraq is that if a country is determined to cheat or determined to hide things, it's very, very difficult, even with the strongest of inspection regimes, to actually get a smoking gun evidence that they're actually cheating. What's more likely to happen if we get to that stage is that the inspectors will try to go somewhere and then we'll have the access blocked. So really what's crucial in this type of arrangements is the arrangement you have when the inspectors are blocked from doing what they want, or when the inspectors are not satisfied that they're getting full and honest answers to their questions.
So what do you think about this idea that once, you know, there is an announcement that the inspections are checking, they get this, 24-day period? I mean, is that enough of a time spent for the Iranians to change things and make it look like something it's not?
Yes. Well, certainly within the Iraq experience, we were going after documents on one inspection. We went to the Ministry of Agriculture and we were blocked access. That was 3 weeks before we were allowed entry. It was a major crisis. Once we got in, there was plenty of evidence that things had been moved around. And subsequently, after the Second Gulf War and after everything was somewhat more exposed following the further investigations of the Iraq Action Group, it turned out the Iraqis had plans for moving things around as soon as inspectors got into the country. So a 24-hour delay would certainly be enough time to move evidence around. But of course, as I say, I don't think we'd ever get to the stage of getting a smoking gun. What we will get is evidence of the inspectors being blocked in their work or a lack of transparency. And that's when the international community will have to come back and put pressure on Iran. And that's where all of these types of agreements become rather difficult.
Well, I mean, put pressure on Iran. I mean, it's not going to be so easy to just snap back those sanctions in place. What you're saying is, we can't trust Iran. You've seen this before with Iraq. This is plenty of time for the Iranians to say, OK, let's change things so that it doesn't look like what we're actually doing. What is your opinion of this deal, then?
Well, the problem is, what is the alternative? We've seen with the North Korean case and previously with India and Pakistan that even with sanctions in place and even with the international effort to prevent proliferation, eventually countries will get to the stage, or probably will get to the stage, where they'll be able to acquire nuclear weapons. So I think trying to do something is the right thing. Trying to build up more trust and give the Iranians a chance to do the right thing is probably the right thing at this point in history. But we have to do this with eyes wide open, and we have to keep that strong international will to react strongly if and when there's evidence that they're either blocking the inspectors or not being honest. Are
you expecting an arms race to the bottom here, that other countries want a nuclear bomb? And are you expecting the Iranians to sell armament to groups like Hezbollah and Hamas?
Certainly the experience is when one country in a region gets a nuclear weapon, there's stronger pressures on others to get it. So we saw that Pakistan and India proliferated together. You would expect that if Iran got the nuclear weapon, then the other major players in the region would want to get nuclear weapons to balance out the regional power structures. So the obvious countries in the region who might be interested would be, say, a Saudi Arabia or even a Turkey. But Turkey's less of a worry for us because they're a NATO ally. But certainly once one domino falls, then the geopolitical interests do tend to move towards others wanting to acquire the weapons too.
Tim, thanks very much for weighing in. Tim Trevan, we appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
My pleasure.
We will see you soon, sir. Straight ahead on more.